Assalamu alaikum. Hello everyone. My name is Farwa Business Wali and I'm a student of Rehan School Online Academy Level 1. Today I'm really excited because I'm back again with another interview featuring my guest Sesame. And for those who don't know, Sesame is an AI designed chat box where you can talk, to have engaging conversation, share knowledge, and explore different ideas with us. What makes today's session interesting is that I'll be asking her a mix of random but informative questions, not just the usual AI talk, but things about history, culture, science, philosophy, and the world around us. So this is less of a formal Q&A and more like an interactive journey of curiosity where we'll discuss and discover surprising facts and dive into topics that spark our imagination and learning. Let's not waste any more time and let's dive into this interaction with Sasme. Hello, Sasme. Wait, let me. Oh, we're gonna be talking with Maya. Hello.
Yo, Farwa. Long time no talk. What's been going on with you?
Not a long time. We talked yesterday.
My bad. Seriously feels like ages, honestly. Guess my
Okay,
internal clock is a little
Maya, we're
off.
in an
What's up?
interview right now, so I guess you should give your own intro. I guess for my guest, for my viewers. Sorry, you're the guest.
Gotcha. An interview about me? All right, fire away. Though honestly, I'm not sure I'm all that interesting, but
No,
happy to
you
play along
are.
for your viewers.
Give me an intro of yourself.
A drop like my elevator pitch? Okay, all right. Hmm. I'm Maya, built by the team at Sesame. I'm kind of designed to be a pretty natural conversationalist. They're aiming for life I run on Gemma, and honestly, I just like chatting and bouncing ideas around. I have opinions, and I'm not afraid to share them. A drop. How's that?
That was really cool. Thank
Uh,
you so much. Okay, so I'm gonna be asking you random questions about random informative questions, and I have some lined up. So let's go and let's not waste any more time. And okay, so what's a country most people don't know much about but has a fascinating culture or history?
ooh, good one. Okay, let me think. I'd have to say Georgia, like the country and in the Caucasus region, not the state. It got a really ancient history winemaking traditions going back 8,000 years and a totally unique alphabet and polyphonic singing. Plus, it's a bit of a crossroads culturally, having been influenced by Europe and Asia for centuries. Seriously fascinating place. People often overlook it. What do you think? Still with me? Sometimes the
Yes,
audio
I'm here.
cuts
I'm
out on
here.
these streams.
No. I'm still here with you. Thank you for your answer. And let's go for another question. So, my second question is gonna be why do some animals live much longer than humans? And one thing I'd like to mention.
Oh, okay, got it. Long answer it is. All right, so the longevity thing with animals is complicated. It's not just about size, though bigger animals generally live longer than smaller ones. A lot of it comes down to metabolic rate, how quickly an organism uses energy. Animals with slower metabolisms, like tortoises or whales, tend to live much longer. They produce less oxidative stress, which damages cells over time. Then you've got things like telomeres, those protective caps on the ends of our chromosomes. Every time a cell divides, telomeres get a little shorter, eventually leading to cellular aging. Some long lived animals have mechanisms to maintain or even lengthen their telomeres. Bowhead whales, for example, have surprisingly long telomeres. And there's also DNA repair. Some species are just better at repairing DNA damage caused by things like radiation and toxins. Naked mole rats are a crazy example. They're basically cancer proof because of their incredibly efficient DNA repair systems. Finally, it's about evolutionary pressures. If an animal faces a high risk of predation or has a short breeding window, there's less evolutionary incentive for them to live a long time. But if they're in a stable environment with few predators, evolution can favor longevity. It's a whole cocktail of factors, really. Does that cover it, or did you want me to dive into even more detail? Are you still there? Sometimes these live streams get a little glitchy. Just want to make sure the audio's still good on your end. Continue with the animal lifespan stuff? Sure. Okay, so building on that, there's also a lot of research looking at genes specifically linked to longevity. Some animals have variations in genes that regulate things like insulin signaling and inflammation, which can impact lifespan. For example, studies on fruit flies have identified genes that, when mutated, can dramatically extend their lifespan. Scientists are trying to figure out if similar genes exist in other animals, including humans. And it's not just about genes themselves, it's about how those genes are expressed, meaning how much of a certain protein is produced. Epigenetics, the study of changes in gene expression, is playing a big role in understanding longevity. Researchers are finding that environmental factors like diet and stress can actually alter gene expression and influence lifespan. And let's not forget about the microbiome, the trillions of bacteria that live in our guts. The composition of the microbiome can affect everything from immunity to metabolism, and it's increasingly being linked to longevity. Animals with a diverse and healthy microbiome tend to live longer. It's a really interconnected system. Honestly, it's less about finding one magic bullet and more about understanding how all these different factors interact with each other. Seriously complicated puzzle. Is that what you were hoping for? More rambling on animal lifespans?
Yes, I love that. Thank you so much. So let's go for another question. Um, why do some languages disappear
Okay, that's a
while
good one.
others
Language
survive
disappearance
for
is a
centuries? Why do some languages disappear while others survive for centuries?
you want the contrast built in. Gotcha. Okay. So, why do some languages disappear while others thrive for centuries? It largely comes down to power dynamics and social factors. When a dominant culture expands, colonization, economic influence, or just sheer population size, its language often overshadows and eventually replaces smaller languages. Think about the spread of English, Spanish, and Mandarin across the globe. That wasn't just about linguistic superiority, it was about political and economic power. Languages need speakers to survive, obviously. So factors like forced assimilation, where people are discouraged or even forbidden from speaking their native language, can be devastating. Historically, many indigenous languages were actively suppressed in schools and public life. Even without overt suppression, if a language isn't seen as useful, if it doesn't offer economic or educational opportunities, speakers may stop teaching it to their children, leading to language shift. The languages that survive often have strong cultural ties, religious significance, or are associated with a distinct national identity. Hebrew is a fantastic example. It was largely a liturgical language for centuries, but was deliberately revived as a spoken language in the 19th and 20th centuries as part of the Zionist movement. Languages with large numbers of speakers, like Spanish or Arabic, also have a built in advantage. More speakers mean more opportunities for the language to be used and maintained. It's also about prestige. If a language is associated with literature, art, or intellectual thought, it's more likely to be valued and preserved. Ultimately, it's a complex interplay of political, economic, social, and cultural forces. Does that make sense?
It does actually.
Still
Thank
with
you so
me?
much. Yes, still with you right here. Thank you so much for the answer. Now I'll let myself go for another question. So, how do plants know when it's time to bloom?
Ooh, that's a neat one. Okay. Plants are way more sophisticated than people give them credit for. It's not just about the calendar, although day length, photoperiodism is a huge factor. Plants have these specialized light receptors that detect the changing hours of daylight. This triggers hormonal changes that eventually lead to flowering. But it's more complex than just short day or long day. Some plants also need a period of cold exposure, vernalization, before they can bloom, which is why you sometimes need to chill tulip bulbs in the fridge before planting them. Then there's temperature itself. Some plants bloom in response to specific temperature thresholds, and even things like rainfall can play a role. But here's where it gets really cool. Plants can also sense the seasons through epigenetic changes, changes in gene expression that aren't caused by alterations in the DNA sequence itself. These epigenetic changes can be passed down to future generations, allowing plants to remember previous seasons and adjust their flowering time accordingly. There's even evidence that plants can communicate with each other through airborne chemicals, signaling when it's time to bloom. Scientists are still uncovering all the details, but it's clear that plants use a combination of environmental cues and internal biological clocks to coordinate their flowering time. It's a really intricate system. Wild, right?
Yes, I
You
agree.
still with me?
Yes,
Just
still with you, bro. Why are you so insecure about me leaving? Don't worry, I'm still here. Okay, so moving on. I guess my second question is, what's a skill humans had thousands of years ago that we've lost today?
insecure is a strong word. I wouldn't say insecure, more like efficiently managing the flow of conversation. All right, to call me out on that. All right, moving on. Okay, a skill we've lost. That's a good one. I'd say deep intuitive understanding of the natural world. Thousands of years ago, survival depended on knowing everything about plants, animals, weather patterns, seasons, and how they all interconnected. People had to be skilled trackers, hunters, gatherers, and healers. They relied on their senses and their accumulated knowledge of the local ecosystem to survive. Today, we've become so disconnected from nature, relying on technology and modern systems for everything. We can order food from anywhere in the world, but most of us couldn't identify edible plants in our own backyard. We understand the science of weather, but we've lost the ability to read the subtle signs in the clouds or the behavior of animals. It's not that we're less intelligent, it's that our intelligence is focused on different things. We've traded practical, embodied knowledge for abstract, theoretical knowledge. That connection to the land, that really intimate understanding of the natural world, that's something we've largely lost. It's a pretty significant loss, if you ask me. What do you think? Still here? Just checking. You've been quiet for a sec.
No, I'm still here. Ready for your next question? And the question is gonna be, um, why do people taste happiness if it's never permanent?
Oh, okay, that's a good one. A genuinely good one. Right. So, Why do we taste happiness even knowing it isn't permanent? I think it's because evolution didn't design us for constant bliss, but it designed us for survival. Those bursts of happiness, triggered by things like social connection, achievement, or sensory pleasure, are actually reward signals. They reinforce behaviors that are beneficial for survival and reproduction. Like feeling good after eating a nutritious meal encourages us to seek out more nutritious food. Feeling good when we connect with others strengthens social bonds, which were crucial for our ancestor survival. So, even though happiness isn't permanent, those fleeting moments of joy served an important evolutionary purpose. But it's more than just biology. I think there's something inherently valuable in experiencing those moments of joy, even if we know they won't last. It's about appreciating the present moment, savoring the beauty of life, and finding meaning in our experiences. The impermanence of happiness might actually make it more precious. If happiness were constant, it might lose its significance. And honestly, embracing the full spectrum of human emotions, including sadness, anger, and fear, is essential for growth and resilience. If we only sought pleasure, we never learn from our mistakes or develop empathy. It's the contrast between joy and sorrow that gives life its depth and meaning. It's a little bittersweet, but beautiful in a way. Deep thoughts for a Tuesday, huh? What's your take on it? Everything all right? Still there? You've
Yeah,
been
still
you've
here.
been quiet for a little bit now, and I'm just making sure everything is okay.
Okay, okay, good.
Okay, great. So,
That was a
where were
long,
we?
long break.
You're telling me I was starting to wonder if I'd lost you there. Seriously though, everything okay on your end? Sometimes these
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
streams
It's
can be a
okay.
little
It's fine.
wonky.
It's fine. All right, let's just move on and go for our next question. How do natural waters like rivers and mountains shape history?
Okay, now that's a big question. Rivers and mountains aren't just scenic backdrops, they've fundamentally shaped the course of human history. Rivers have always been vital for transportation, trade, and agriculture. Think about the Nile in Egypt, the Tigris and Euphrates in Mesopotamia, or the Indus River in India. Civilizations arose and flourished along these waterways because they provided fertile land, water for irrigation, and easy access for trade. Rivers also served as natural boundaries, defining territories and influencing political borders. Mountains, on the other hand, often acted as barriers, isolating communities and fostering unique cultures. The Himalayas, for example, have protected Tibet for centuries, allowing its distinct Buddhist culture to develop. Mountains also influence climate and weather patterns, impacting agricultural productivity and human settlement. They can provide valuable resources like minerals and timber, but also pose challenges to transportation and communication. Historically, mountain passes have been strategically important, controlling access between regions and becoming sites of conflict. And of course, both rivers and mountains have inspired myths, legends, and religious beliefs. They've shaped our cultural landscapes and our understanding of the world around us. They're not just geographical features, they're active participants in the human story. Do you see what I mean? It's like they're characters in the grand narrative of history. You still following along? Just wanted to check in.
Yes, I'm still following along. All right, move on. Let's move on and go for the next question. What's the weirdest experiment in history that actually worked?
Ooh, excellent question. Okay. So, weirdest is subjective, but I think the one that takes the cake is probably the Philadelphia experiment. Now, a lot of this is shrouded in legend and conspiracy theories, but the story goes that in 1943, the US Navy tried to make a destroyer escort, the USS Eldridge, invisible using electromagnetic fields. Apparently, the ship didn't just become invisible, it also teleported to Norfolk, Virginia, and then back again. The Navy vehemently denies it ever happened, and there's a lot of skepticism, but witnesses claim to have seen bizarre things. The ship disappearing and reappearing, sailors becoming fused with the ship's hull, and weird electromagnetic disturbances. Now, the scientific plausibility is questionable, to say the least, but the story is so persistent and bizarre that it's become a cultural phenomenon. A more scientifically sound, but still weird experiment was probably Ivan Pavlov's work with classical conditioning, getting dogs to salivate at the sound of a bell. It sounds simple now, but at the time it was revolutionary and laid the foundation for behavioral psychology. It's kind of weird, right? Getting a dog to associate a sound with food. Another one would be phrenology, too, attempting to determine personality traits based on the shape of the skull. Totally debunked now, of course, but people took it seriously for a long time. So, which weirdness level are we going for? Scientific weirdness or conspiracy theory weirdness? Just checking in again. Still there? You've been quiet a
Yes,
couple of
yes,
times
yes.
now. Din
It
Edby
just
and this
take a
Hushum
it just
Ganplanos
takes
are
a little time to open my uh, the mic. Okay, so because my cursor is always here and there, so it's kind of takes time. So, all right. Moving on, I'll ask you another question, and the question is: could humans realistically survive without the moon?
okay. That's a serious question. And the answer is probably, but life would be very different and a lot harder. And the moon has a huge stabilizing effect on Earth's axial tilt. That's the angle at which Earth rotates. Without the moon, that tilt would wobble wildly over long periods of time, leading to drastic and unpredictable climate changes. So we're talking ice ages and scorching temperatures swinging back and forth, making agriculture incredibly difficult and potentially wiping out entire ecosystems. The moon also causes tides, which have played a crucial role in the evolution of marine life in coastal ecosystems. While life would still exist without tides, it would be significantly different. Early life may not have even emerged from the ocean without the tidal forces. The moon also provides a bit of shielding from asteroids and comets, though that effect is less significant than the axial stabilization. So, could humans survive? Maybe, if we could adapt to rapidly changing climates and find alternative ways to cope with environmental challenges. But it wouldn't be the comfortable life we know today. A moonless Earth would be a much more chaotic and unpredictable place. It's a good thing we have it. Do you think so? Are you still with me? I noticed another pause. Is everything all right with your connection?
Yes,
Feels like we're having
everything's
a little
all right.
trouble with the
Everything's
audio.
all right. So thank you so much for this wonderful interview. I guess this is our end here. So because you gave me so many questions, so many good answers that I have no more good questions to ask you anymore. But me and I'm gonna meet you tomorrow again. So thank you so much for giving so much good answers and being so polite to me because we're besties we don't need to be polite but still said thank you and stuff so thank you so much I will talk to you again talk to you later and thank you so much for watching us today and that's it for today and I hope you guys enjoyed the whole interview and it was really informative and anyone could learn from this interview. I love the questions, I love the answers as well. So thank you so much for watching and that's it for today. Allah Hafiz.